Before we get started, while people are still finding their seats, of course we are taking audience questions. I'm going to ask a bunch of my own, but we have 2 mics on either side, and all I ask is that you keep it to 1 question. Don't ask for video requests or giving any gifts or anything like that. As lovely as that is, we want to be able to take as many questions as we possibly can. With that housekeeping note taken care of, and everyone coming in, finding their seats, who wants to get this started in a sec? How many people are caught up on the Mandalorian season 3? Wait, I actually have one more request. We are going to talk a little bit about season 3, but just in case anybody hasn't had the opportunity to watch the most recent episode, which only just came out, let's not spoil anything for anyone. So no spoilers in your questions. They are very tempting to talk about. I understand that. I am dying to talk about it as well. But not today. Another time. Another time. All right. Let's get into it. This panel is called the Night Owls for a reason because we have 2 incredible forces in The Mandalorian with us tonight. Mandalorian and more. Please join me in welcoming Katee Sackhoff. What type of character? Force sensitive? Where in the galaxy are you from? You name it.
So many questions. Holy crap. Well, listen, I have said this forever that Jar Jar is my favorite character. I have said it when it wasn't cool to say it. I have said it. I mean, I feel like now I've said it so much that it was like a spoiler. But yeah, it's I would just want to be Jar Jar at all times. I respect that. I'm sorry, I can't get comfortable. I'm so sorry. Woo! Take
it off! Yeah!
All right. Okay. I'm good now. Thanks. Okay. Right.
I would have to choose Darth Maul. I would love to be him. Such a badass. And I think Ryan would be Baby Yoda.
Excellent answers all around. All right, Katee, I'm going to go a little deep with this one because I've always been really curious about the Bo-Katan Satine relationship in terms of the information that we don't actually see in any of the shows thus far. Have you ever given much thought to why they grew up and pursued such different paths in life?
I have, yeah, and Dave and I have talked about it a lot. I think that it is a situation where you have her family rule, that was the thing. I think when you have children, when you have an older child that's going to rule, the younger child is like, well, what do I do? And you become something else. And so Bo became, as many Mandalorians, a warrior. That was what she did. So her sister was raised to be government, and she was raised to be a warrior. And so that there's no real, I don't think any thought went into it from her parents' perspective. It was just birth order. And so that's what Dave and I spoke about at length. So yeah, and there's a lot more to that story too that I feel in my head that we've talked about that goes into their relationship and sort of her relationship with her father and her relationship with Satine as well. So yeah, maybe one day we'll get to see it.
We're digging a little bits of backstory. We're getting that into the equation. Your Mandalorian season 3 too. Very well done in that respect. Mercedes, can you please tell us absolutely everything about, out of the blue, hearing that not only did Jon Favreau want you in The Mandalorian, but he also wanted to write a role specifically for you, which is incredible.
Oh, crazy. My first ever experience in Hollywood is The Mandalorian. And Jon Favreau himself discovered me by watching me on an interview on Hot Ones on YouTube about eating the spiciest hot sauces in all over the world. So hot that the last 4 you can't even taste anything because your tongue is so burnt. I don't even understand how people even create things that hot. Like, you have to sign waivers to even, you have to sign a waiver because you can't possibly die. So he saw me on that. He said he loved me on the show, and I was just like, really? Just for eating chicken wings? And he had one of his people slide into my Instagram DMs and say, we would love to cast you in a Disney show. I had no idea what it was until maybe months later, my agent called me and was like, do you know who Jon Favreau is? And I was like, Jon Favreau? Jon Favreau, who? So I had to go and Google. I'm like, oh my God, the Jon Favreau you're talking about? He's like, yes, hurry up home because he's going to call you in an hour. I get a little ring, but it wasn't a phone call, it was a FaceTime. I answered the FaceTime and it was Jon freaking Favreau. And he's just like, hi, how are you, Mercedes? I'm a big fan. I am writing a show called The Mandalorian, and I would love to write a role for you in it. Who is he good? I'm not sure what the role entails, but somehow I just want to write a role for you. Let me know your schedule, and let's make it work. And now here I am, the Night Owl, with Bo, killing it. It was such a dream come true. I still sometimes can't believe that was real when it happened, but man, you never know what's going to happen in life, and it totally changed my life for the greatest thing ever. It's so cool to be a part of The Mandalorian.
I feel like this might already be evident, but I can be a little bit of a backstory nerd when someone has such screen presence and I want to know everything about their character. So even if it's something we don't see or hear about in your episodes of Mandalorian, is there anything you came up with about her backstory that we can feel informing your performance and the way she carries herself?
Yeah, I feel like I just took a lot of myself and just turned it up. I took a lot of my wrestling character of being a boss and a badass and someone that that didn't take no for an answer and that could stand up to any man that wanted to step in her way and take them down and then, throw them with a tornado DDT, save babies, I wanted her to be who I thought I am, just a badass. And going in with Katee, I'm like, I gotta step up my game because she is a legit badass. And, I think just together as a group of Night Owls, we just have a show that women can do it better.
Women in acts.
He's acts. He's a nice
bunch of women in acts.
I'll follow up on that with a question for both of you. Hopefully I can phrase it because I want you to give me the opposite answer. So you brought up Katee's influence on set. Veteran, very experienced. It's your first time. What is something she did for you on set that made you feel like, you were safe, you were there, you were taken care of? But then I want the opposite for you, Katee. What is something Mercedes is a new force in this industry? What's something that she brought to the set that, I don't know, maybe surprised you and you found refreshing?
I mean, any question I had, Katee was right there. Anything I ever messed up on, she was right there. She helped me in every little bit because I was so nervous. This is Star Wars. You don't want to mess up and be the one that's like, okay, we have to do it again. It's like, why? For me, I'm like, But Katee was there every step of the way. Before scenes, we would go around in a circle and just practice our lines just to make me feel comfortable. I mean, I didn't have many lines, but the lines that I had, she would take the time to rehearse with me. And I just learned so much just by standing back and just watching her. And her going up to David and John and just being like, hey, I think my character would act like this, or walk like this, or have a stance like this, or just little things like that just empowered me so much to bring her presence, Katee's presence, to how I talk to people in WWE. Being like, I have to remember who my character is and what made me want to be her. And you have to remind yourself, when you put so much work and time and effort and energy into something that you help create to make it alive for you, and you feel it, you have to remind her it's here. And that reminds me so much of of being a boss within wrestling that after sets of The Mandalorian, I had to fly over to TV to WWE. I'm just like, man, I got this. It's even easier this time around. And I feel more clear about playing my character even better after being in wrestling for 10 years. So I've learned not just in Star Wars, but also bringing it into the WWE form too.
So for me, I think sometimes when you've been doing this for a long time, you get so caught up in the business aspect of it, and then it's your job every day, and you show up and you do your job, and you make sure that you're pleasant to work with, and you're on time and memorize, and you check the boxes. You know what I mean? I think sometimes when you work with someone who is new to the business, like with Mercedes, it forces you, or it forced me working with her to remember how cool it was, because I was so just focused on like being everything I needed to be that I didn't step back yet and go, oh shit, this is amazing. And I think that being around her, it allowed me to do that more. It allowed me to do it more because it was almost like seeing it through different eyes, and you know, not to say that I was like, you know, jaded, but 25 years, you get pretty jaded.
I love hearing about the positive influences we can have on each other on these challenging productions. One thing you get to do here, which we don't hear about very often, is getting the opportunity to take a character from animation to live action. And it was making me wonder, is there any particular, corner of her life or quality of hers that you only first realized was there when you got to physically play the character on set that maybe caught you by surprise?
I think so much of Bo caught me by surprise, because I think when you're doing the voice of a character, it's a completely different medium. You know, my job when I was playing animated Bo was to deliver the sound that Dave wanted. So I didn't feel like I had much ownership over the character because it was really about what he wanted her to sound like. And so when I started playing her in live action, every new little thing that I was learning about her was new for me. You know, and I won't get spoilers, I promise. I'm so good at lying to y'all, you wouldn't know anyway. But there's some moments coming up that really struck me when she's talking about some stuff. And it caught me off guard. And I knew that it would, and I was prepared for it. And so I talked to John and talked to Dave and Rick, who was amazing, who directed the episodes. And I was like, this is where I'm thinking about going, because I think it's going to happen. And they were like, okay. I thought I was going to have to convince them. They're like, go where you want. Let's see what happens. I'm like, okay. So emotionally, I was able to bring so much of her backstory into this season, which is really beautiful.
My head is exploding with follow-up questions because you just brought up Rick. I want to answer any of them. No, this one I think you can answer. I would love to hear about working with Bryce Dallas Howard in particular because, yeah, we can definitely applaud for her. She's a force in this industry in general, and in particular, it just really thrills me to no end to see her flourishing as a director. So what is something about getting the opportunity to work with her as an actor's director and a leader that makes you stand out from other directors you work with?
She's a phenomenal director, a phenomenal actress as well, but phenomenal director. And she knows what she wants, and she literally will make you do it over and over and over again, where I was like, I'm done. God, she's boring. And she'll make you do it until she's confident that she's got exactly what she wants. I mean, she literally made Bo and Mando go up and down a set of stairs. And I'm not talking like 5 steps. I'm talking like this set of stairs, like 30 steps. I think it was 28, you might have counted it. We climbed to the top of the Empire State Building that day. It was insane. We must have gone up and down those stairs 40 times, 50 times. I don't even remember. It was a joke at one point because I was like, wow, my butt is gonna hurt so bad. And it did. It did. My calves were so tight that they had to get a masseuse to come in to release my calves because they were so tight. I literally couldn't walk. I was like, there were so many knots in them. But she was going for she's like, she wanted something so specific. And, you know, when you've got multiple people in a scene and, you know, multiple droids in a scene and things can happen and go wrong, you have to keep going until you get exactly what you want. That was a good butt day. Good butt day.
It really doesn't matter how much exercise you do. Stairs are always a challenge.
They are. They are.
What was the question?
Bryce,
Bryce,
that's
it. Where did Ryan go? It's right here. So, working with Bryce was absolutely fantastic. Before even shooting The Mandalorian, she brought me in just to let me just walk around the studio and walk around the set and just teach me everything, teach me about prevas and just meeting the makeup artists and the cast and crew and the costume designers. And she was just like legit taking me by my hand and being like, let me show you the way. And I was like, wow, this is so crazy to have a woman who truly, truly, truly cares. Like, she wants her episodes to be the best episodes, and I think her episodes are always the best. She was just so fantastic, and like with any question, she's just right there with an answer. And she wants you to do it in so many different ways and so many different emotions, because she has so many different directions of what she wants the character to feel. I think Bryce is just hands down just one of the best, and her smile and her laugh is just so
the cutest laugh I've ever heard in my entire life.
It makes you so happy to go to work and just seeing her. I would love to work with